The Vocational Rehabilitation Act of 1973 was created to approve grants for states for rehabilitation services, supported employment, independent living, and client assistance. It allows for research activities which are administered by the National Institute on Disability and Rehabilitation Research. Included in the Rehabilitation Act are a set of rules designated to focus on rights, advocacy, and protections for people with disabilities. The purpose of this act is to correct the problem of discrimination that occurs against people with disabilities in the United States. The Vocational Rehabilitation Act began with the Smith-Hughes Act that was created in 1917. It created a federal board of vocational education with responsibility for addressing vocational rehabilitation needs of veterans with disabilities. As the years passed, legislation extended services to people with disabilities and broadened the type of assistance and services provided. The Vocational Rehabilitation Act was the first law to provide people with disabilities equal protection and equal access to employment and remove architectural and transportation barriers. President Richard Nixon signed the Rehabilitation Act into law on September 26, 1973. One goal was to introduce a new age of activism and give people with disabilities more rights in higher education, government, and private industry. Through affirmative action programs, it also created rights for people with disabilities. Some of these rights include prevention of employment discrimination in the federal government. It created the Architectural and Transportation Barriers Compliance Board to enforce standards that were previously set by the Architectural Barriers Acts of 1968. It prohibits federal contractors and subcontractors from discriminating in employment against individuals with disabilities and requires those employers to take affirmative action to recruit, hire, promote, and retain those individuals. It prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability in programs receiving federal financial assistance. It addresses remedies and attorney's fees under Section 501. And lastly, it promotes access to communication and computer technology. The Vocational Rehabilitation Act provides services to assist eligible people who have disabilities pursue post-secondary education, employment, and independent living. To qualify for the rehabilitation services, an individual must have a physical or mental impairment that prevents them from being employed. There are a great number of services to help those with disabilities succeed, including but not limited to counseling, medical and psychological services, job training, and other services based on his or her needs. Vocational rehabilitation aims to help those who have physical or mental disabilities find careers, be economically sufficient, and become independent. To apply for services, the best way to do so is contact your local office or go through the American Job Center network. The individual will be required to submit a written application. The problem that the Vocational Rehabilitation Act aims to solve is to help those with disabilities get or keep a job. This policy is important because it provides a wide range of services to those with mental or physical disabilities. Disabilities create barriers and prevent people from getting employed, living independently, and excludes them from society. I have personal experiences with people who have mental or physical disabilities, so I believe in helping those who cannot help themselves. This policy enables those with disabilities to learn to be independent and self-sufficient. 64 million, which is 26% of adults in the United States, live with some sort of disability. The Vocational Rehabilitation Act aims to allow these people to become employed, which is extremely important in independency. I think this policy should be expanded to assist those who are unable to work due to his or her disabilities. There are some disabilities that prevent a person from being able to be independent. For those who are unable to work, the Vocational Rehabilitation Act should be expanded so that parents or guardians of those with more severe disabilities receive some financial help. One may argue that the Vocational Rehabilitation Act does plenty for those who have disabilities, and it does do a lot, but there could always be more that could be done for those that have severe disabilities who are unable to work or who have families that are unable to work. I just believe that there should be more financial assistance for those who have such physical disabilities that prevent them from walking or talking or with any kind of skill that one is required to have in order to maintain or keep a job or to even get a job. Like I said before, the Vocational Rehabilitation Act does do a lot for those with disabilities, but with how far America has come in the last 100 years, I think there could be so much more to be done to assist families who have kids or who have adults that have disabilities that are going to live with them forever. That's going to be a financial burden for them until they pass away. And I think that there should be more to be done for those who are unable to work due to their disability.